What a brilliant idea. Welcome, everyone. This is the UpViral Co-Pilot Show. It is March 1st. I still can't believe it's March 1st, 2022. Glad to see everybody here. There's Charles and Daniel and David and Claudia and Gabenga. Jeff, Jenny, John, Carlene, welcome all. Keith, Kiki's here. See many usuals. There's Kiki. She says hi. I did it again. He says hi in the comments. Lohith, Peter, Rodney, Sonia, Stephen, Uthman. Interesting names. Bless you all for being here from all around the world. And Yakov, I don't want to miss you. Charles, Terrence, Harper. I am not known for pronouncing names well. Welcome, everyone. And even if you're watching on the replay or over on Facebook Live, great to hear you, see you. Charles says, the real Charlie Harper. Is there a fake Charlie Harper? Is there somebody I don't know? Anyway, today's show is going to be pretty much sort of a training, which we tried to originally not do on the Co-Pilot Show. But I think this is a good one. It's turned out that over the last almost 2 years that we've been doing the show, the goal was to not just set it up as training to go through this step and that step and this and that. But it turns out that sometimes that's very helpful. And I keep referring back to episode 62, for example, as great ways to learn how to use UpViral that aren't just contests. For those of you who don't know me, if you're a first-time user, welcome. This show is aimed at beginners. I do have more than 250,000 leads in my UpViral account. You'll see that in a few minutes. But I've also done probably equally that number in clients or students' accounts. So I have 8 years of experience doing contests with UpViral and other tools, but I've focused on UpViral because it's the one that works the best. I get a little wound up about this stuff for those who don't know me yet. And again, welcome everyone. If you're new, say hi, I'm new. Be brave, stand out. What I'm going to do is start with an overview. Now, I just kind of poked back into the UpViral intro course that is inside of your UpViral account. If you have already opted in, you can go watch that. It walks you through everything that I'm going to walk you through today. But the thing that is, I think, missing, and I'm not degrading the training in this campaign, in the Learning Center is very good. But one of the things that I've found is missing in even talking to people who are very experienced marketers is they don't understand the process flow. Those of you who've been with me, and I keep referring back to episode 62, I did a really good overview of the process. And I'm going to do that again to put that in summary. And then what I'm going to do, Carlene says, I'm interrupting. Then what I'm going to do, I'll tell you that in a second. What I'm going to do is take the charts that I show you, and I'm going to kind of map that back to the steps in UpViral. Something that I've never done before. So if you are an experienced episode 62er, yay, welcome back. This is going to be a little bit different. Going to be a little bit the same, but a little bit different. Taking a breath because I get too wound up. Carlene's question, will you have time to look at our campaigns today? No, not really. That's not the intent. Next week's show, actually promoting next week's show is a review show. So I'm going to do campaign reviews next week. So I don't think we'll have time to do that today, but next week, make sure that you submit your campaign through the form when you get the email because that way I can review it. I love doing reviews. I'm pretty brutal for those who haven't seen me before. I can be pretty brutal, but the goal is to do it with love and with teaching and to help you make a much better campaign. It's not to hurt anybody's feelings, etc. We'll get into that next week. Any other questions before we start? Don't I look great? I'm going to get new glasses so I don't have that reflection. Anyway, too much information. Okay, everybody ready to get started? Only 8 minutes of preamble. Not too bad. Where's my clapper? I need to have a clapper for the start, right? All right, I am recording. I upset myself last week because the week before because I forgot to turn on the recording. All right, I got to do one more thing with my Mac so that I don't keep getting notifications while we're going on. Don't need to see all those pop-ups right when I share my screen. Okay, so Claudia says she is ready. And by the way, Claudia, I sent you a comment. I'm sure you've probably already seen it, but in reply to your message to me this morning. So, all right. We are in Zoom. If you're over on the Facebook group, you should see this as well. I just want to make sure that that's still working properly. It's not going to catch up right away. All right. On your screen, I am sharing my screen. All right. And Jenny, thank you. Thank you for popping in and making a comment. There it is. All right. I thought I hit pause. All right. I don't need 2 streams. This is the beginning of the beginning of the beginning. The idea here is that when you get started using UpViral, you've got to understand the process before you dive in and start looking at the tool itself. This is a traditional look at an UpViral campaign. I'll say it 10 billion times before, and you'll get tired of hearing me say it. But the UpViral campaign is a 2-page process. Now I'm going to show you some examples later on. I don't know exactly when, but later on where there are multiple pages. But the UpViral piece of those multiple pages typically is just 2 pages. And what you see here on your screen, I'm going to make it just a little bit bigger. It's probably a little blurry going out on Zoom. The little tiny words aren't that important, but on the left-hand side, we have traffic coming into a lead page. Everybody can probably understand a lead page. Basically considered a sales page. You are doing absolutely everything in your processes to get people to opt in. So the only thing on the page is information about the campaign, whether it's a simple lead magnet or an UpViral contest. The idea is only one thing. Don't distract them. Don't add a whole bunch of other bells and whistles. Get them to opt in. So there's an opt-in form, and it's kind of sort of visible down here on the bottom of this. Name and email. Opt in. There's a button that says click. Now in this case, it says click to enter to win. And then they get taken to what we call the share page. Many people also know that as a thank you page. That share page is where the magic is going to happen. All right. This traffic coming in to the opt-in page at this point in our conversation is simply direct traffic. Those are the people that you are sharing the campaign with, whether it's a Facebook ad, your own current email list, social media. All of that is called direct traffic. And I'm calling it direct traffic because it's very important when we dive into the reports later on that is clear in your mind as to what's direct and what's referred. We're going to talk about referred traffic, and that's where the UpViral magic happens is the referral stuff. All right. Now, when you see that, I'm going to bring on this, and I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. Probably too big. When UpViral, when the user on the opt-in page clicks the opt-in button, there are emails that go out. We're going to talk about this. Steve Thailand is actually leaving. Oh my gosh. Yes, it's deja vu for those people who've already been through this. But the thing that's coming up, if you've already been through this, is I'm going to relate this to all of the pages inside an UpViral campaign. So this campaign transactional emails happen when somebody signs up, somebody earns an incentive, and when they fraud, when they cheat, a couple of other times. They're also stored, if you see this bottom thing, looks kind of like a database from my old days. They're stored in UpViral. And it just dawned on me that I don't think I have the other right chart ready to go. Dang it. But anyway, once they're stored, we ask those people that have opted in, that's a little too big. Charles, that is way, way down the road kind of a question, no offense. The question is, do we need to have something like SendGrid? The answer is no. And yes, depending upon what you want to do. We're going to get to that in a few minutes. Hold on. UpViral's special feature is that on the sharing page, this second page of the process, there are social sharing buttons. Those social sharing buttons allow you to, or let's allow the person who has opted in to share on social media, on email, wherever they want to copy and paste their unique link. So when I'm going to use Betty Lou, my good old friend Betty Lou is going to opt in on the lead page. She ends up on the sharing page, and on the sharing page, we say, hey, Betty Lou, we're going to give you some bonuses, some joy if you share this. And Betty Lou shares it through the social sharing and the copy and all that kind of stuff. The people that see that sharing, that come through what Wilco calls the viral loop, are called referred traffic. Those people that Betty shared, again with Betty's unique link, come into the front page, the opt-in, with Betty's link. So UpViral can track who comes in from Betty's social sharing. Those people, let's say her name, one of the people is named Joanne, she pops in, she enters, then she becomes a lead, she gets stored, she gets emails. Now she ends up on her own share page and she starts the process all over again. That's what's called the viral loop. That's the magic of UpViral. We have direct traffic and we have referred traffic. That is absolutely critical for you to understand in this process. The next thing I want to show you, and we're going to, again, summarize all of these things. That's not what I wanted. This, why is that doing that? Or whatever. This, the update to the previous panel was that now we also have UpViral custom actions. Those custom actions are simply things that people can do. For example, go visit my store, go sign up for my Facebook group. Those things are ways of you sharing things about your business or pretty much whatever you want to do. The social media functions bring in new leads. The custom actions, 99% of the time, do not bring in new leads. Their goal is not to bring in new leads. They're there to help you in many ways with your campaign, but I want to separate that in your head because they're very distinct functions. Custom actions are primarily to get people interested in your business or your social media or some function. but they're not meant to be bringing in new referrals. That's what the social media functions are. Okay, does that make sense? Everybody sleeping so far? Those of you who are watching on replay, I hope you are grasping all of this. Now, I'm going to give you this little distinction. Same kind of a concept. I use different tool to draw the page, but I want you to recognize that there are visitors, and those either come from direct or referred, and they only become a lead when they opt in. And that sort of becomes critical when we're talking about some of the reports and stuff. Jenny says, I'm getting it. Thank you. You're welcome, Jenny. Glad to have you here. Visits don't really do much for you if they don't opt in, but that's how the numbers are calculated. UpViral tracks the number of people that come in on the front end. For example, there's a 100 here. Down below, maybe there's 30. UpViral is going to give you a 30% conversion rate in that scenario. So it's important to understand as a newbie that UpViral tracks visits. It also tracks leads. We're going to get to some points in a few minutes to talk about that. But what I'm going to suggest to you is that we don't give anybody points for visits. Right? We don't care if somebody visits, except to calculate our numbers. We only care if they become a lead. All right. Hope that's clear as mud. Now, we're going to look at one more chart here before we dive into UpViral. Again, similar chart, different tool that I drew it with, but the idea is the same. We got a lead page, we got a sharing page. Sharing causes a viral loop and blah, blah, blah. Now, tracking things that people who opt in, what we're going to do, and let me make this bigger. I'm sure that it's a little hard to see. There is something that inside of UpViral and inside of your process, we are going to try to get people to refer others. And we are sharing the social message with them to get them into the viral loop. But one of the big things that we're going to do is to dangle what I'm calling an ethical bribe. It's not my word, a million people have used it. The ethical bribe being, hey, if you refer somebody or if you get this many points, we're going to give you XYZ gift. So this chart is showing you that if UpViral is tracking the points, and we're going to, again, I'm going to show you how all of this relates to UpViral in just a second. But UpViral is going to keep track of the points. So this is because Betty Lou's unique link, right? UpViral can see how many people visit Betty Lou's referrals, how many people sign up, how many points they get, la-di-da. Then UpViral says, oh, do they have enough points for the reward? Betty Lou says she's got 100 points. Then bang, UpViral sends her an email that says, here's your reward, your gift, whatever you want to call it. And then it delivers that. All right, now that's a critical piece of the process. I've mentioned the word points a couple of times. I'm going to bring this back out. UpViral tracks all of the activities based on points, right? So let me, I don't have a quick and dirty way to get to this. Let's see. Ways you, that's not it, the sharing page. We'll just look at this one. No. See, I didn't title them very well either. Saving leads and emails, the sharing flow, this one. Well, it doesn't have the custom actions on it. Anyway, the idea being that once somebody is opted into the world, every function they do, whether it's the social sharing, whether it's the custom actions that aren't here on this chart, UpViral is tracking, we're giving them points with the idea of gamifying the process to make it fun and engaging Everybody loves to get points. Everybody loves to get gifts. Everybody loves to win prizes. And the tool tracks all of that activity and measures their performance based on points. So all of these things have points associated with them, even the custom actions on the other chart, wherever that is. All right, y'all still with me? The philosophy here is find a way to incentivize people with your offer to give them the best offer possible, whether it's a main offer with a contest, whether it's a lead magnet or a webinar, whatever you're doing, to give them the idea that if they get enough points, they can earn either chances to win in the contest, or they can earn some of these ethical bribes or gifts, whatever, rewards, incentives. There's several different words we're going to use to get those things, right? People do not share just because they feel this is great. You kind of have to beg them a little bit. It is life. People will share if they find something that's really cool, but if you can incentivize them to go do that, UpViral is the perfect tool to make that happen because UpViral tracks all of these activities. Now, I am going to show you this, and it is way small. There are a bazillion different ways of using UpViral. A lot of the time we talk about pure contests, but you can do referrals, you can do lead magnets, you can do pre-launches, product launches, webinars, all that stuff that I mentioned, with the idea that this is a two-page process. Now, if you're an advanced user, an advanced marketer, and you are used to doing funnels, you can still do that. If you're a beginner, like maybe Jenny is, don't start there. Start with the simple process. It's a two-page process. For a lead magnet, you give them the opt-in, you convince them to get the lead magnet, you get them to the share page, you say, hey, I'm going to give you an extra bonus if you refer people or earn points or blah, blah, blah. You can do some of the crazy funnel stuff. And you have seen, if you've been around, interviews with people that have done advanced things like Gabe Schillinger. I'm going to bring this chart up just so you get the idea that you can do this kind of stuff and you can integrate this kind of stuff in your existing flow. This is a store example. You have a sales page, an order page, and a confirmation page. On the confirmation page, you can say, hey, we're having a contest. And you send them over to the lead page in UpViral. This is an UpViral page. The sharing page says, hey, share. Bring people into the viral loop, that kind of stuff. But notice the viral loop only happens here. It does not take people to the front of your sales page process. Then this is where people get very mistaken. If this is the first 2 pages of your process, then that works great. If you think it's going to be the last 2 pages and this loop is going to send people to the front, that's where people get really whacked out and broken in their head because they want people to go to the sales page, not the contest page. So I'm not showing this to confuse you. I'm just showing you to help you understand that UpViral can fit in your processes if you understand that it's a 2-page function and you put it at the beginning or you do something like this where it's at the end. But the key is the share page always points to the lead page, the UpViral lead page, not your sales page or something else. Hopefully that didn't clutter everything up in your head. Anybody lost? Anybody have any questions? Because my next step, I'm gonna take that away. I'm gonna hide it. I'm gonna hide that one. The next step is to take you through the process of where all these pieces are inside of UpViral. So if you have any questions, raise your hand. Did I somehow throw away my page with the I did. I don't know what I did. Open recent ways to use UpViral store with contest press. There it is. Right now, I'm not going to bring anybody on to talk, but Gabenga's question, if I want to use UpViral to sell something from a lead page to an order page, then a share page. No, that's a 3-page process. Lead page, order page, share page, that's 3 pages. No, UpViral is a 2-page process. Now, I'm going to tell you that I've figured out ways of making that process work. Absolutely, it is possible, but you got to really know what you're doing. I want everybody that's especially starting out to understand UpViral is a 2-page process. I'm holding up my fingers. It is a 2-page process. If you can get that working and learn how that process works and grow your knowledge, later on down the road, I can talk to you about how to do a 3-page funnel. It's not, I don't want to go there. Is it possible? Yes, but that's an advanced, really crazy advanced function. Think of UpViral as a 2-page process. If you can think of UpViral as a 2-page process, then you're okay. It's not my first rodeo, not a beginner. Okay, great. But right now, I'm only really going to address people that are beginners. The advanced stuff that I just showed you, it's possible, but we're not here to talk about that. All right, thank you. And thank you for the question. It's not a bad question. It's okay, I understand. A lot of people want to know that. But start with the idea that UpViral is a 2-page process and you will be golden 95% of the time. Even the case studies, for example, that I mentioned with Gabe Schillinger, Wilco talks about that one a lot. Gabe brought in $200,000 in sales. He starts with a 2-page process. He starts the whole thing, and there's a whole funnel layout over there in the case study. The first 2 pages are UpViral pages, the lead page and the share page. There isn't an order page in the middle. So even the big fancy, hey, I made $1 million, exaggerating, are a 2-page process. So let's slow down from trying to shove an order page in the middle and focus on it's a 2-page process. Niraj, you are very welcome. Niraj says, I'm thankful that you are covering the basics. They are important. It's like, I don't know if you know baseball. I'm sure many of the professional sports, what do they do in spring training in baseball? They go work on the fundamentals, hitting, catching, throwing. You gotta understand the fundamentals to understand how all the pieces fit together. Okay, so let's dive over to UpViral. All right. I'm going to make sure I didn't miss a question. All right. Jim said, can I use it for an evergreen webinar? Abso-freaking-lutely. Yes, sir. I'm working on my own webinar. It's going to launch in 2 weeks, by the way. Psst, secret tip. Absolutely, you can do that evergreen. Absolutely. I'm going to take a quick sip here. You notice up at the top of my screen, it says 262,669. That's the current number of leads I have. I'm going to toot my horn because notice this one says referred leads, 113,879. 43%. This number right here is a 43% average referral from here. My overall average is 43%. You guys should be drooling if you've ever, so let me put that in a different context. If you put 262,000 people in a football stadium, which obviously is impossible, think about how many people that is, and 113,000 of them were invited by the other 150,000 people. 43% of the people sitting in that stadium were invited by somebody else. If you ever do marketing and you put 150,000 people and they invite another 113,000, those are free leads. 43% of my entire total are free leads. I want you to recognize how significant that is. Your mileage will vary. These were mainly contests. Not every campaign is going to get a 43% referral rate. Your lead magnet may not get that, but I have people that are running campaigns that are in my mastermind that are getting 700% referrals. 700%. For every one person that comes in as a direct lead, they're bringing in 7 referred leads. Imagine that in your business. All right. Now, hello, newbies. And I don't mean that in an insulting way. Some people might think newbies or noobs. I'm not meaning that in any kind of derogatory term. For those of you who are beginners, welcome. The first thing that is very different, if you've ever used UpViral in the past, you had to build your campaign from scratch. UpViral has this new functionality where you can share campaigns, and some of the campaigns that have been shared on the Copilot show, we've given you a link to just import those campaigns into your account. It's phenomenal. It was a very big change that came last year, and I thank UpViral for that because I've been begging for it for a long time. So you don't have to build a campaign from scratch. If you're brand new, you have the great capability now of using a template. Now, if I wanted to share, for example, my webinar, all I have to do is go here and do this share thing. And there's a whole show on that where I could give you the link to make that happen. And you could copy that into your account. It's fantastic. I want you to also note, by the way, as a beginner, there is a clone function here. Some people will create their first campaign and they go, well, how do I clone it? How do I make another one just like that? That is over here underneath those 3 dots. I've actually had many people go, where is that? It's right there under the 3 dots. Also, by the way, if you do delete, they go into a trash for 30 days, all right? Anyway, so you're brand new, you're coming in, you've got no idea, you now understand the process flow. What you're gonna do is you're gonna go create a new campaign. And UpViral is giving you a whole bunch of templates, campaigns that they have built for you to start from. Now, if you do custom campaign, this very first one, it is going to be blank. There is nothing in it. You're starting from scratch, just like the old days. Now, they have tried to give you some information about what these templates are designed to do. So you can pop over to see more about what the characteristics are. My mouse has gotten very sensitive. Sorry about that. So you can click this and you can read more about that particular campaign. And you can do a preview. If you click preview, it will pop up a preview for you. This one is very attractive. It's got lots of nice pictures. You can do use template, or you can go back. By the way, there is also, if you do this, you can see what the share page looks like. So you can see both pages before you decide to dive in, or you can go back to the templates. Jim, if you want to talk about that, let me know. I am not able to do that right now. So if you decide to use the template, click use template. Now I will warn you that that will take a few minutes. So I'm not going to do that right now. What I did before the show started was I went down here because I have not looked at this one, and I created a campaign from this. I did this and I did use template. Now notice this particular one has a case study attached to it. And you should watch this because Nina Franks is somebody I know. She and I have talked multiple times. She is a really sharp marketer. There's lots to learn in this particular show, co-pilot show. I was on that show, and let me tell you, she dropped some nuggets. Watch that. So, but she's also shared her campaign. So all you have to do is click Use Template, and you will dive right into her campaign. Now, I will also advise newbies to potentially just grab all of these, bring them into your UpViral account that cost you nothing. There's no harm or foul for having them in your account, and just start playing with them to see what they look like and how they work. They all have different settings. They have different point systems. They have different incentives, etc. So you will learn quite a bit just by poking around inside of each of these. All right, now, oh man, I don't know if I gotta speed this up if I'm gonna make this in an hour. I got 20 minutes left. The good news is that you already understand most of this stuff, but we're gonna point this back to those charts. Now notice the first thing is that it's in draft mode, and there is a link that you can click to make that happen to see the preview of the live campaign, but it's not live. So you have to change the status, and I'll show you how to do that in a minute. One more thing, if you haven't done it yet, if you're a brand new user to UpViral, I highly encourage you to go into the Learning Center. You will have different things in here than I potentially do because I have several things that were given to me for free. This is a co-pilot show example. You can go in and, or this is part of Wilco's training on incentives and stuff. But also go to settings on your dashboard, go to settings. You can only get to it from your dashboard, but go into the general settings. You see, here's my profile with my name and my email address. You can set up your outgoing email stuff. Somebody asked about SendGrid. You can potentially use SendGrid. I'm currently using SendGrid to send my emails out instead of UpViral. You can blacklist, whitelist, etc. Now, the other things that you should do as a beginner, and I didn't explain that, would be the integrations with the autoresponder. And that's where I said I was missing a chart. I don't have time to go find the chart, but you'll get the idea, I hope. And if you plan on using a custom domain, which I highly, highly encourage you to do, build one of these before you do anything else, because it can take up to 48 hours for those to roll out. You see over here, it says potentially 48 hours. So go do those things first. All right, so I am here. We're going to go dive in and edit this campaign. If you click here, it will take you to the reports page. If it's brand new, if the status is draft, it'll take you to the edit. I typically do edit campaign. It shows you how many visitors and leads. We talked about that before. Now, UpViral has this very first thing. There's an overview. And then there's this navigation on the left-hand side. This is all campaign specific. You saw that the entire page changed. We're talking about this campaign. There's a link to it. There's the status up here. There are some other things that you can look at during the process, like reports, how many leads, how many winners, if you're running a contest, split tests. Larry asks, is there an API or Zapier integration? The answer is yes. Sorry, I whipped through that pretty fast. If I go to settings, integrations, there is Zapier. You may not see Zapier depending upon your pricing plan, just so you know, or if you're a lifetime deal holder. All right, so there are two sort of navigations. There's the left-hand navigation. You want to go through all of these steps. Again, this was populated by UpViral. This is a campaign based on Nina Frank's co-pilot show. And you can change the name of the campaign up here at the top. I'm just going to leave it there for now. And then this, we're going to walk through all of these steps. And then after you get the campaign set up, you go through these steps. The top navigation comes after everything's really going. Now, one of the first things that I really want to do is to launch the campaign, because I want to be able to see it, right? So when I do that launch campaign, nobody on the planet can see it unless I hand them this link. So if I click this, you will now see that I can preview the campaign, which I couldn't do before. There is no harm in publishing the campaign. There's no master catalog out there on the planet. Nobody's going to see it unless you publish it somewhere. So let's just go back to setup. This overview is kind of what I just showed you in a different format. There's the opt-in page, the share page, the sharing, and all that kind of stuff. You're going to always see this overview in number one. All right. How can I use SMS? That's way too complicated right now, Fred. I'm not going to cover that today. You can ask me that on another day. Now my brain's thinking about how I would tell you how to do that. Sorry, I just don't have time to do that today. I really wanted to get through all this, and I'm not maybe going to make it an hour. All right, so we talked about the lead page, the share page, all the social media, the viral loop, and I also showed you the thing about rewards. So coming back to the UpViral, the first thing that they ask you to think about is rewards. Now, this may seem kind of contrary. I'm going to even pull all the way up. This may seem kind of contrary to what you're thinking you're going to do when you come into your campaign. Most people think, oh, I'm going to build the opt-in page and I'm going to build the sharing page after that. UpViral is presenting the rewards and the points and the actions and this other stuff before you get to the design, because, and I teach this and everybody else I know teaches this, you got to think about the offer. You got to think about that ethical bribe that you're going to dangle in front of people. You got to have a plan for all of that stuff before you can dive in working on the basics of the campaign. And in this particular case, they've already handed you a template and it has some things already in it. So that's helpful, but that's why it starts with the rewards, also called incentives. That's where we start, because you've thought about, hey, in this campaign, I'm not only going to maybe do a contest, I'm going to have prize X, Y, and Z, but to incentivize people to do more during the campaign, I'm going to tell them if they get to 100 points, they're going to get this free training or this free PDF or this free whatever. The idea here is when you're coming in, you got most of those things already figured out. And what you're now doing is going into this template and just customizing it for what you need. All right, you with me there? Let me go back to sharing. We're going to look at this entire process. And here we are in UpViral. Now, there's this grand prize section. The idea of the grand prize is if you're doing a contest, then you're going to set up some prizes. When I click this, you're going to see that it's talking about how to pick people, whether it's most points or at random. I'm not going to go define all of these. Charles, I'm not going to try and answer that question right now. You guys are asking some really complicated questions. I'm trying to get through the basics here for the beginners. Most points are random, and there's this date. This is most often what I am using inside this grand prize, is if there's going to be an ending date to my campaign, I'm going to put it there. If you're not doing a contest, you still have to put some sort of a name in here. Doesn't matter what this name is. Nobody will see it as of today. I don't know if it's going to change in the future, but nobody can ever see this name. So pick a date. It's going to end on the 31st at 12 noon. All right. Or I picked 44, whatever. Down here are the incentives. Those are the rewards that we're going to dangle in front of somebody. You can add an incentive. Notice this campaign doesn't have any. If there were, they would be listed. So I'm going to add one really fast. I'm going to put in, I don't know, Google. How many points? So it's a link to a URL. I'm going to call it Mitch is awesome. Key thing is this is a public, can't type in talk, public thing. So this title, notice it says public up here, that will show up on your sharing page. Be careful about that. So now I have an incentive or a reward. This campaign did not include one of those, but now I've just added one. So I'm customizing my campaign. Now notice there were also points for this. So I'm deciding how many points it is to get that thing. So let me come back to my preview. I've got to bring this up. I got to switch windows. I did not close it, did I? Oh, here it is. What I'm talking about, the incentives or rewards, are these things down here. In my case, what I just did was I set up, if somebody gets 2 points, I'm going to send them this reward. So when Betty Lou comes in and she shares or does the social sharing and gets points, every time she earns points, UpViral checks, is there enough points? Bam, UpViral emails them, reward is delivered. So that is what we're talking about in this incentive section. Everybody with me there? Sharing and actions. Now, I told you that there are points for all of these things. If I come back to here, there's social sharing, Facebook, Pinterest, all of those things have points. This is where you set up those points. For Facebook, it's 5, Twitter's 5. So this again is coming from the Nina Franks campaign. You may decide to give different points. That's okay. You can type in a number, you can hit plus or minus. Now, these are the critical ones. When I come back here, I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. When Betty Lou comes in and she opts in, she is going to be awarded some points. When she hits this enter to win, when she hits this share page, she will now have points. That number of points is this one, the sign up points. The referral sign up is if Betty shares socially and our friend Joanne comes along, how many points does Betty get when Joanne signs up? The idea here is that you can give a different number of points to Betty Lou when somebody shares, and I'm sorry, when somebody joins the campaign based on her sharing. This right here is the gold of UpViral. I am currently setting that to 50 or 100 points because I want them to really understand how important it is for them to help me build my business. Okay? So everybody's still with me. This is a critical thing. Now, earlier I had talked about there's a possibility of sharing or giving points for visits. That's hidden underneath this thing right over here. You can do this, but I don't advise anybody to ever do it unless you got some special case where you want to give people points for visits. There are some reasons. We're not going to dive into that. Just don't do it unless you know what the heck you're doing. Now, the other thing that I told you about was custom actions, this section down here. Those custom actions are down here. In this case, Nina didn't have any custom actions, but you can create one really fast. I'm going to just dive through this. Join the daily live training call. You give a URL. I'm going to do that one. I'm going to give some points. I'm not going to put any instructions. I'm just going to show you that there's a question. Any answer is correct. I'm just trying to get through this because it's taking me longer than I thought it was going to do. Shocker. You can customize this with different icons, etc. Add the custom action. So now I have the ability to do this section and put custom actions on the sharing page. They're on the sharing page. They're going to show up in this little section where all the buttons are. And you give points for those, right? I gave 6 points for that. This is where you're deciding in your business, in your campaign, what functions you want them to do to help you grow your business or your social media or whatever. That's in the custom actions. Sharing message. Over on this chart, what we're talking about here is this social media. What is going to be shown to people on social media when Betty Lou shares? In this case, here's a pretty picture that Nina has created in the text that goes with these social messages. You can come up here and you can do the same or different for Twitter, and you can let them send out emails to their people, and you can customize the text for that. Customizing all of these is critical, but you're using their Nina's templates to see what she did. So you have to fill in all of these. Design pages. This is where it gets fun. Now you're at the point where you can do the design. I am not going to walk through all of that, but the idea is you're going to click edit, and you're going to come in and you're going to change whatever template you chose. You're going to put in words, you're going to put in images, you're going to put in buttons. This is where you customize the campaign for you. You could put in your own images. You could make it just like hers, just changing the words. But this is your customization for your campaign. That's the opt-in page. On the right-hand side is the sharing page. This is where you're going to decide how to tell them what the rewards are, what the points are for doing these things. You're going to tell them, if you're doing a contest, you can tell them again what the prizes are. Nina's was very simple, not a lot of frivolity here. You can put all kinds of stuff on here. Dragging stuff from the left, putting it on, all kinds of really good stuff here. Customize it for your branding. Now I'm going to do one more thing back here on the opt-in page and on the share page. You remember we talked about in the overview, I'm going to click it and go back. I'm sorry, not the overview, the rewards. There's this grand prize. And some people are thinking, oh, well, I can only have one prize if I'm going to run a contest. Not true. There are not little blocks here for multiple prizes, but you can put on your design, you can put as much as you want. You can say, we're giving away a new car. We're giving away a new car and all of the accessories. We're giving away a new car and a trailer to haul it home. You can put all kinds of stuff. Yes, this is recorded. It's always recorded. Connor, yes. And it's in, as I showed you before, if you go to the Learning Center, all of these Copilot shows are here in your Learning Center. So this is where they go when they get recorded. They also go on YouTube. If you don't have an UpViral account, you can go there or inside the Facebook group. All right, so on your pages, please don't think that you are restricted to only one prize. You can put whatever you want. The process of selecting winners and all of that's covered in other shows. Just trying to show you how to get up started and running. put whatever you want to for prizes in text form. You're going to go pick the winners. You're going to do different things on the sharing page. You can have different incentives. There's all kinds of things that you can do. UpViral does not restrict you into how many prizes you can have or how many incentives you can have. All right. All of that stuff is very flexible, and you do it by customizing those pages. All right. Any questions? If you have any questions, pop them in. It's no problem, Connor. The communication section, if I go back here, what I'm talking about is these transactional emails that you saw. When somebody does an action, whether they opted in, whether they referred somebody else, whether they're cheating, etc., those are transactional emails. Those are covered under number 6. Send an email right after registration. Send an email on a referral sign up. So when I was talking about Betty Lou opted in and then Joanne came in as a referred link, referral, you can send out that email with this. If somebody earns one of the incentives up here in number 2, also called rewards, you can send them an email. Send an email when the incentive, Mitch is awesome, this is a public thing, is unlocked. Notice the title there. There will be multiple emails here if you put in multiple rewards. You have to come in here and customize those so that people understand what they're getting. I've covered this in a million different things. Please don't do this one. Just do it manually. Pick your winners, analyze whether or not they're cheating, and whether they're qualified to win, etc. Send all that stuff manually. Please don't do this one. That's my recommendation. Now, the thing that I forgot back here when I was doing these charts was to talk about, you can, if you picture this new context thing over here, UpViral stores the new contacts. But if you also want those contacts to be sent over to your autoresponder, the place where somebody asked earlier, you know, do I have to have one? No, you don't have to. But if you want to send emails that are not transactional, for example, hey, there's 3 more days left in the contest, you can still earn those incentives by referring people or doing these custom actions or sharing, etc. Those kind of emails, come from your autoresponder. Connor's quick question before he leaves, she, does UpViral support LinkedIn? Yes. Does it support Instagram? No. Instagram, it's Instagram's fault. It's not an UpViral thing. Instagram only lets people have a link on their profile. You cannot create a post on Instagram with a link. Therefore, there's no reason for people to share over to Instagram because they can't put their unique link. Betty Lou doesn't want to put her unique link there. So there is no functionality. That's Instagram's fault, not UpViral's. Claudia has a good question. If several incentives have the same number of points, can I let them choose which one they unlock? No. UpViral just thinks they get them all. There is no distinction, and no, they don't have a choice. Okay. Now imagine this duplicated over here. This is your autoresponder. UpViral will shove. Connor, no. LinkedIn is just one of the places to share. You'll see that when you start building your campaign. If you have questions, Connor, if you want, you can submit your campaign next week for me to review, and I can talk about that. Even if it's just a rough draft, it's okay. You don't have to worry about that. It's perfectly complete. send it to me and I'll give you a review. All right, so when somebody opts in, if you have your autoresponder connected, that pretend that box is here and a little dash line to your autoresponder. Then in UpViral, there is a section called Autoresponder. What happens is that, and I'm just going to show you my example, you can click here to add a new one if you don't have one built. When you do that, it takes you over to the main settings section where I was doing integrations, where I showed you the Zapier and stuff. And you do add new autoresponder. You go through that process and set that up. Then you come back here. I have one. I'm going to just show you my active campaign. I have lots of them for different clients and stuff. Then what you do is, depending upon your tool, whether it's Drip or Active Campaign or MailChimp or whatever your autoresponder is, and again, this is not required, but if you want to be able to send out those emails to people like end of campaign, 1 day left, 12 hours left, hey, here's the winner, all of those kind of emails have to come from somewhere else. UpViral does not send them. So you want to be able to send all of these people over to your autoresponder. Now, you could just export them and import them. That's okay. I've done that before. Not going to try to explain every bit of that right now. I'm trying to finish. But that would be over in leads and an export and blah, blah, blah. But if you want them to go straight over, for example, I'm using Active Campaign. UpViral changed the settings here, depending upon whether I was doing Klaviyo or GetResponse or whatever. I'm going to put them in my viral list builders list. I can put some tags in here, noob training or whatever. I know I can't spell. All kinds of things to send over the data and get tags. If somebody earns an incentive, you, depending upon your autoresponder, can send over a tag that says Betty Lou earned this incentive and send some different emails, etc. There's all kinds of stuff you can do there. That's the advanced settings with the autoresponder. The last thing down here is the advanced settings. There's lots of stuff in here. I've done lots of training. Most of these things are not set when you bring over a campaign. The lead capture header footer codes are for things like Facebook pixels, any scripts, Google scripts, etc. that you want to use. There is one for the lead capture, one for the share page. Custom domains that I talked about setting up earlier, those are here. You want to pick those here. This callback URL is really advanced. I've known very few people that have ever used that. If you're running a contest and you do want to put in terms and conditions, you can put that in here. Geo-targeting has to do with what country that you are restricting access to your campaign. General setup, do you want the powered by UpViral turned on? I typically turn that off. Deactivate fraudulent leads, email verification, this kind of stuff, any UTM tracking codes. All right. So it's taken me just a little under an hour based on the fact that I didn't start till 8 minutes after. And by the way, the last thing, I want to make sure you do this when the campaign is closed. Always at least redirect them to a new URL. Do not leave this on default page because traffic will still be coming to your campaign. Because of the social sharing, even if you have a close date, there will still be traffic coming in. Where do you want those people to go? Send them to a different contest, send them to your host page, your domain, your main page, whatever. Send them somewhere. Don't let the traffic go away. Now, that is the setup process in just barely under an hour with a lot of training in it. Now, there's obviously more stuff. There's what to do when you publish it. There's the one-click sign up. There are the reports. Let me just highlight the reports really fast. don't forget, I'm going to show you, let's go to a different campaign. My newsletter, for example. Learn about these reports. I did an entire show about these reports. So many people don't come in and look at these numbers. I'm going to harp on this. This first little box up at the top, this is the direct leads. I'm going to come back to my chart over here. Direct traffic. This direct traffic section is what shows up here. This first box. It's referred visits. That's the stuff that comes through the viral loop. That's the referred visits. If you pay attention to nothing else, pay attention to these two boxes. Don't just jump over and look at this one, because this one doesn't really matter. It's overall, yes, I got 68 leads. How many leads? This is the gold that I talked about. The referrals are the gold. How many leads are being referred? Because otherwise, if you're only looking at this number or at this number and not this, then you are not paying attention to what UpViral is doing for you. That number that I talked about, let me go back to my dashboard. This number of 43% that's up here at the top that I was talking about earlier, it's staring you right in the face. Now, you got to do a little math. You got to divide this by that to come up with that percentage. There's a whole bunch of other great stuff on this reports page, but if you do nothing else, look at this. It's right there in the top, right in the center, staring you in the face. This is the gold of UpViral. Pay attention to this box. Don't just look at this. Don't just look at this. Look at the middle one. I'm getting a 33% conversion rate when people come in as referrals. Am I getting enough referrals? No. Now, this number, this direct visits, by the way, in this particular campaign, I have to justify myself, but this is the one I show people as demos. This is a campaign that a lot of people go to and they don't opt in because I'm just doing a demo for some stuff. But it is my live newsletter campaign. And I am asking people when they opt into my newsletter to refer others. Nobody does that. This is the power of UpViral. In fact, well, I go into that. I do some more bonus stuff with these people. But I don't have time to go into that right now. All right. So there you go. There's the little slightly bit over an hour. Overview of how to use UpViral if you're a beginner. Any questions? Jeff Stark says, well done. You're welcome. Thank you. So I'm going to go, I will go back if Connors comes back to this. The question was, how do you connect to LinkedIn? You're not connecting LinkedIn to your campaign. You're going into the sharing and actions and simply giving points for that. On the sharing page, people will share into LinkedIn wherever they want. I don't know if that makes sense. I'm checking over on Facebook. I don't see any questions over on Facebook. Anybody have any questions? Anybody? Nobody? Oh, stinkers. I did this. I wasn't showing my screen. Here is the LinkedIn, right? On the sharing and actions. I'm sorry, Connor. You set the number of points for how many points they get for sharing. In this campaign, I am choosing not to give them points for sharing. I'm giving them only points for referring others. And I have a very specific process because people, I'm counting how many referrals there are. That's the only thing I'm doing here in this campaign. Jenny says, so people can share on Instagram or not? There is no Instagram listed up here. This IN is for LinkedIn. That's the logo for LinkedIn. You cannot share directly into Instagram. What I teach people to do in my classes is to create a custom action, add a custom action. I don't always remember the right words. Repost this Instagram, and I know I can't type in Instagram post, whatever. And you give them the URL that's over to an Instagram post, let them reshare it, give them points for it. Okay. Yes, there's all kinds of stuff you can do on Instagram. It's just that Instagram refuses to let people share a link on a post. That's them. It's Instagram's problem. If Instagram would allow that, people would dive in and do it all the time. That repost thing can say, look at my profile, right? The people can go change their profile if they want to. The link to their profile, they can put it in a link tree. They can do all kinds of stuff, but Instagram's the problem here. It's not UpViral having the problem. Carlene says, can you show how to pick the winner again? All right, not there, here. So I'm going to cancel this because I don't want that in my live campaign. You guys are asking the hard questions now. So if you're a newbie and beginner, a noob, you're welcome to stick around. I'm going to answer as many questions as I can. Now I've already forgotten whose question it was. I'm going to make this a little bigger. You can't see. Oh, Claudia. Oh, I answered that. Oh, no, I didn't answer Claudia's question. All right. Carlene asked about how to pick a winner. In this campaign, I'm not doing, it's not a contest. It's a newsletter sign up. So I'm not going to go there. I'm pretty sure that Nina's campaign was a contest. So I'm going to go edit the campaign. She had one particular winner. So if you want to pick a winner, you go to winners. I don't have any leads in here, so there's no data. But you would do pick winners, pick more winners. You would click on that, say at random, how many winners, pick that many winners, click next, and it will give you a list. Inside this list, you can then go look at those people to make sure they're valid. There is a, let me just switch to a different campaign that has people in it. I'll go back to the newsletter. It doesn't really matter. So I go to the winners thing. There are leads in here. I'm going to do pick more winners at random. I'm going to pick one winner. I'm going to do next. Now nothing has happened. Oh, look, I won. Nothing has happened yet. If I click accept, then that email, if I have it turned on, would go out. And I'm about to sneeze. So if I go quiet, it's one of those things that's not going to happen. If I have that turned on, and I've asked UpViral to mark over here whether or not that email function is turned on, and they haven't done it yet, I'm begging them to do that. If you're listening, UpViral, please. If you click accept, then an email would go out. If you have it turned off and you do accept, then nothing happens other than they get marked in your database as the winner. Only you get to see that. Nobody else sees it except in a leaderboard. I think the leaderboard shows it. I never, ever click accept. Let me back up. I rarely click accept. I just write them down on a spreadsheet and send them an email outside of UpViral. That's how I do it. That's my choice after doing over 100 different contests. Now, just before I forget, I saw another question just came in. I'm not even going to look. If you go to communication, reward emails, down here at the bottom. Oh, all right. So that so UpViral changes things depending upon how your campaign's set up. In this particular case, if I go to rewards, you'll see that there is no grand prize. It's disabled. So in this section of, sorry, went to the wrong thing. In this section of communication under reward emails, there is no email that says send an email to the winner because I did not set it up as a grand prize function. All right. So if I had set that up, there would be an email here, and you simply toggle the switch to off. Okay. In this particular campaign, you see that I am not sending out an email when the first referral is unlocked because I don't want them to get anything until they get the third. The third one, the third referral, then they get free training from me on how to do something. So my incentive here in my newsletter is trying to get people to refer others in order to receive some free training from me. I am dangling an ethical bribe to get people to refer others. Okay, does that make sense? All right, let me go back to the other questions. If you have questions, go ahead and pop them in. I got to get back to Claudia's because I know Claudia had one. If I have two incentives that cost 4 points to unlock, should I price one for 4 points and the other for 8? If you want them to be stair-stepped, yes. So again, UpViral is incredibly flexible. So you can set your incentives or rewards. You see here, I have the referral 1 point. They don't get anything for it. Second referral 1 point. They don't get anything for it. So they're at 2 points. In your case, it could be 4 and 8. And then when they get to 3 points, then they get my bonus. So just because you create an incentive doesn't mean that something special is going to be sent out to them. I'm simply tracking, and I'm doing this because in my emails that I send out to people, I show them how many people they have referred and how close they are to getting the free prize. This is one of my advanced features. I'm not trying to tell you how to do this here. So Claudia, the answer to your question about the two incentives is you got to decide how you want to give them out. You could give them both at 4 points if you want. You just have to decide what your offer is. My suggestion is that they get those incentives based on doing more work. Stagger them, give them other things to do. Does that make sense? I did the winner thing. Jim's question, can I set it up as an evergreen campaign on a monthly basis? All right. This is a very fun question. It depends upon how you want to do your monthly campaign. UpViral and I have talked multiple times about how to set up a quote evergreen campaign, but it all depends upon your process, and you can do it either way. Typically with an evergreen campaign, if you want to do something monthly, what you would do would be have one campaign. This annoys me that it's changing that. One campaign that people stay in and have the chance to every month win a prize. So Betty Lou signs up in January, maybe you're going to have a big prize or just going to have monthly prizes, then she's eligible throughout the whole period. If you want to do a different kind of evergreen, where you're going to pick a monthly winner every month, but everybody starts at 0 points every month, that has to be a separate campaign. You can take campaign A, clone it, and just simply say, hey, this is the new campaign. Everybody is gone. There was nobody in it, so they have to opt in and start at 0. It just depends upon how you want to run your campaign. Does it change if I'm way back here? I still see flashing. Maybe you guys don't see the flashing. That would be great. I'm going to move the comments. There's still no comments from the 4 people on Facebook. Who's there? Let me know if you're there. All right, Jim, does that make sense? Carlene, did you get the email function? Did you see how that? Got it. All right. All right. Fred, bless your heart. How do I go about learning about SMS integration? Can you refer me somewhere? I just signed up for a paid account and plan to run a campaign in a week. Email communication is not effective in Kenya. This is for those of you watching that came as a beginner. And Fred, I'm just going to run over this really quickly because this is a complicated conversation. UpViral is designed to collect emails. It is not designed for SMS. Doesn't mean you can't do it, but it's not designed that way. UpViral collects emails. That's the connection to the autoresponder or inside of UpViral. You can put their phone number on the opt-in form. You can collect that at the beginning. If you want to send that to an SMS tool, you would have to connect UpViral to Zapier because there is no direct SMS connection. You would have to connect it to Zapier and process that SMS inside from the data from Zapier. That's option number 1. Option number 2 that people have done was have the traditional opt-in with name and email, and then on the share page have a button that says, go sign up for SMS. We're going to give you more data. We're going to give you more points. We're going to incentivize you to do the SMS and make that a custom action. So there's a custom action. You could put it right at the top of the page all by itself, but it would be a separate function that they would have to click and go sign up for. So those are your 2 options. And I don't think I'm going to go into more detail about that. Claudia, 6 minutes ago, you said, can you show your campaign in the incentives after the first, second referral, et cetera? I noticed this when you're moving around. Well, I'm not sure I understand your question. Would you tell me more? Did I finish? I mean, in the newsletter one I just did, I think that was between the time you asked the question and now. Did I explain that well enough? Anybody else have any other questions? I'm not seeing more questions coming in. Happy to answer questions. Claudia, do you just add an incentive with nothing to download? How do you create an empty incentive? Simple. Okay. I will share my screen. These are empty incentives. Okay. I'm going to add an incentive. I'm going to mark it as other. Points to unlock, I'm going to set that at 4 points. I'm going to give it a name. Mitch's blank incentive. Save. Okay, I now have, Claudia, an incentive that is empty. Now you will see, I got to move the chat out of the way. If I go to Autoresponder, you will see that down here, I now have a blank incentive, which I could send a tag over to my autoresponder, which is primarily why I do it, to get people to have a tag in my autoresponder so that I can do something different. So I have a blank incentive. It's based on points. Somebody asked a question. I'm going to give you a mind blower. In the UpViral group last week, or yeah, it was last week, somebody asked a question, how do I get points over to my autoresponder? Because UpViral doesn't natively send them. He went through and he created, one of the guys, not coming up with his name, darn it, came up with something I knew how to do years ago. God, what's his name? Anyway, you can create an incentive for every point and have let's see. I'm going to come back here and make sure that you understand what I'm talking about. I didn't really show it in here. Let's see. Rewards. Notice this, I had really thought about it, but this diagram does not show it. Hey, when this was based on the gifts or the incentives, right? So when Betty Lou, let's say, gets a point for referring somebody, right? That comes on the sharing page. When UpViral checks every time, are there enough points for a reward? If so, then they will send an email. But it will also, if you set it up in that page where I am right now in the autoresponder, in the tag section, it will send a tag. You could put a tag that says, got four, I can't, points. You could send a tag for every point and have an indicator in your autoresponder how many points somebody has. It's a brutal process because you have to set up one for every point. But he did it. Bless his heart, he did it. But that's what's going on there, Claudia. Does that make sense? Did I answer your question? Now you're getting some really super advanced trickery. Thumbs up. All right, thank you. Carlene, I accidentally picked a winner for a competition taking place on Sunday. Will that affect anything? Did you have the email set to send an email? If so, then they got an email. Okay, Carlene says no, then nothing's happened. Okay, let me rephrase that. That person is no longer eligible to win. It's a very critical point. And I got to go turn that back off because I don't need that incentive in this campaign. When somebody is marked as a winner, they cannot win. So what I'm going to do, Claudia, I'm sorry, Carlene, I'm going to pick one at random. It's processing. All right, I can do accept. I have the email turned off, right? This is the process I always go through. Before I click that mark, I always, because I don't have that little flag on there, I come over here and I make sure that there is no email. I'm going to turn this one off too, because I don't want that. There is no email when a winner is picked. My gut just sinks every time. I want to make sure that's turned off. All right, so now I can go back to winners, even though this is a nothing campaign. I do pick more winners, pick one at random, do next. Brenda, blah, blah, blah. I can do accept. Now she is no longer eligible to win. But notice there's an unpick. There's an unpick all winners. There's an unpick individuals. So if you unpick, they are now eligible to win. Okay. And notice that UpViral is now keeping track of that down here at the bottom. They have had so many people say, well, I didn't pick a winner. And they're now logging all those things because they don't want you coming back and yelling at them. All right. Anybody else? Oh, Jim says, can I download the flow charts? There are multiple flow charts. I don't have them saved anywhere. I really should do that. I will post them in the UpViral group on the Facebook Live for this. Anybody else have any questions? Carlene, I was testing and picked a winner for a campaign that ends on Sunday. Oh, yeah, the campaign does not stop just because you pick a winner. The picking a winner does not stop anything other than it keeps that person from being eligible to win. By the way, a lot of people say to me, I'll stop sharing. A lot of people say, well, Mitch, how do you know all this stuff? Guess what? I test. I know currently I have access to Danny and the support team if I need to ask a question. It takes too long. So I just go try it. You guys can do this, and I do it all the time. Create a dummy campaign and go try it. See what happens. In my mastermind, we are constantly going in and doing this because somebody will say in my mastermind, Mitch, can I do this? And I go, maybe, I don't know. And so we go test it. It's not that hard to test some of these things. It does take a little bit of prep. You do have to have a campaign. You can go put something in and turn the switch on and pick a winner, see what happens. That's how I figure all this stuff out. UpViral is not telling me that. I just go figure it out. Where can we find Nina's campaign? It's right there. If you go to your UpViral account, I don't know which tab I got. Let's go create new campaign. Scroll down here at the bottom, at least for me right now. This beauty products campaign is from Nina. If you click on this arrow, you'll see that it says Nina Franks. Okay. Now, you can also watch the co-pilot show. And my belief is that eventually what they're going to do is, if they can, for one of the case studies, and if you go to UpViral.com and you go to the resources and the case studies, I don't think I clicked that properly. Their plan was going to be that when you looked at some of these, I don't know about all of them, but there was going to be a button where you could take that entire campaign somewhere, I don't know, get full access. If they have it, there should be a button somewhere to let you clone that entire campaign. Kiki's question. Hi, Kiki. I'm sorry I called you a woman earlier. I still have trouble with that. Kiki, Mitch, great idea on Claudia's question. I was leery of giving a coupon for every referral. Now I can just say get $10 off for every time you refer 5 people. You have to be careful. And I'm going to tell some inside secrets again. Right now, the only way UpViral will issue an incentive is based on points. Okay. In my case, the one I just showed you with the 2 blank incentives, they're only triggered based on points. And the only point I have that's awarded is not for the sharing, not for earning any custom actions, not for anything. The only point is when somebody gets referred. It's the only time I give a point. This is the secret of that campaign. Those 2 blank incentives simply trigger a custom action in my autoresponder. Now, if you have a campaign, who's this? I've forgotten already. Who said this? Oh, Kiki. Kiki, if you have a campaign where you are giving points and doing custom actions and all that kind of stuff, you can't do this secret trick with the hidden incentives, because unless you figure out what the point structure is based on when somebody does referrals, then you can start doing that, but you got to be very clear. All right. Now, this is the secret thing is I am begging. I have begged them for years to create an incentive, not based on points, but purely based on referrals. I want to be able to issue an incentive when somebody refers 3 people, and I could do anything I want to with the points. That's what I'm begging for. I want to separate those 2 things. But they haven't done it yet, and I don't know if they're ever going to do it. People have to demand it. When back in the day, what you guys don't know is UpViral used to be either you gave a reward or you ran a contest. They weren't merged. And I convinced Wilco and the team 3-4 years ago to allow you to do both a referral and a contest at the same time. But what didn't happen was that we had the ability to give a reward based on the number of referrals. Now, it wasn't too bad, and except for the fact that they then turned on the custom actions, and the custom actions blew all the smithereens, because you could now give 500 points or whatever for custom actions, and now your points and rewards kind of got all messed up. So I continue to beg them to go, please set it up so that on the rewards, I could do a reward purely based on a referral, or 2 or 3 or 5 or whatever. It's just, it would be cleaner. All right, nobody's asking any more questions. Kiki, you're satisfied. 5 points per person, and incentive will be a free coupon. Okay, great. Anybody else? Anybody else? Bueller, my friend likes to say, my friend Paul says, Bueller. Everybody gets that reference, right? So I don't think I missed any questions. If I did, shout out. Thank you for being here. Next week is a review show. I am going to wind this up unless somebody asks a couple of questions. Next week is a review show. So if me, Carlene says me, does that mean you have a question? Okay. Question coming. All right. Next week, I'll say it anyway. Next week is a review show. If you have a campaign that you would like me to rip to shreds in a polite, nice way, please submit it next week. There's a form that you get in your email. It says, hey, review this, or just come in and give me the link. I don't care. The link needs to be not your campaign edit link. So many people send me the edit link, like they go in and they go, I want the link, and they grab it from UpViral. It has to be from the Publish tab, the link that you send out to everybody. That's what I need. Okay, please don't give me the wrong link. While Carlene is typing, does anybody have another question? And thank you for being here. I appreciate each and every one of you for being here. Jeff, Jim, Carlene, Keith, Kiki, Larry, 2 Larrys. Keith, you are welcome. Glad to have you here. Peter Julian's here. Hi, Peter. How are you? Haven't seen you in a while. Carlene, is that cash? Is that cash? All right, Carlene's question. I have a campaign where $250 is the prize for sharing. Okay, I don't necessarily understand what your criteria is. Number one, based on the information I have, cash prizes are really bad. Unless you want absolutely everybody on the planet to want to win it. Carlene says refer a friend. Okay. So if you refer a friend, they're going to get $250, just one. That's possibly a good thing, right? It's not a contest. I now understand it's not a contest. Carlene says the person who refers the most. All right. Now, that is okay. Yes. So it basically is a referral contest. The person who climbs the leaderboard gets to the top of the leaderboard and refers the most people will get $250. I would rather it be a prize. I don't know what the rest of your campaign is, but I would rather it be not cash, because then it's not really applying to what your business is. Typically, what I suggest to people is they offer the prizes need to be specifically for your business, because you don't want a whole bunch of people that just want to win $250. I want to win $250. Am I your perfect person? I doubt it. The offer is critical. My good friend Bradley Waldrop, and you've heard me talk about this before, and actually, we might do a podcast together. His saying is that the offer needs to be good enough for people to crawl through broken glass to get. Will people crawl through broken glass to get $250? Absolutely, I will. But I may not be the perfect person. So $250 voucher to spend in my business would be better. Absolutely. Now it's going to reduce the number of people that opt in, because all the people that were just going to get $250 in cash have now fallen away. But that's okay. You don't want them on your list anyway. They're never going to buy from you. You only want people who are interested in doing business with you. Okay. Peter said he's very happy to be here. Anybody else coming with a question? All right. The offer has to be only for people who will want your price. Who knows? Anybody know what the very first contest I ever ran? Oh, I got something cool for you. I found this a couple of months ago and I keep forgetting to show. So contests must be in my blood. I found this in the family genealogy stuff that I'm working on, and you're not going to be able to read it, but this is my grandmother. That's also her right there, receiving the prize that she won April 9th, 1942. She won a contest. She made it in the paper, 1942, for winning a contest. So it's in my blood. I forgot what the prize was. $500 defense bond. And it was because she did the most referrals, I think. But I think that's so cool, isn't it? That's my grandmother right there. But the prize has got to be for your perfect avatar. It's in my genes, Claudia says. Yes. Carlene says, for the newsletter referral, how does this flow work? Okay, I'm going to stop right there. That is something proprietary I'm working on as an offer that I will be putting out in the market. So I'm not going to give you all that right now. There are times where I have to not share absolutely everything, because I think that's a very valuable process. And I don't want to just share everything. I'm sorry. I have to feed my family somehow. So anyway, did I say what I started to do about the contests? Oh, my very first contest. That's where I was going. The very first contest I ever ran, I was running a photography video website, and I added a forum to it. So I wanted people to join my forum. Now, I had a brilliant idea, because at the time, iPads were fairly new. So I offered an iPad for my photography video contest. My thought was that photographers loved the iPad to be able to show off their photos. So it was the perfect idea. I learned right away that you got to have the right offer for your audience. I got a whole bunch of people. None of those people joined my photography forum. They didn't care. They just wanted an iPad. It was a hard lesson right up front. So anyway, any other questions? You got to make the offer be something that's going to incentivize the people to do what you want them to do. Join you, nurture them, learn to teach them good stuff, and then they will buy from you. All right. I'm not seeing anybody else going, I got a question. So I'm going to wrap it up. Hour and 50 minutes. Thank you for being here. Again, next week is the review show. Come on by next week and we're going to rip some stuff to shreds. I saw one yesterday that just made my blood boil, how bad that campaign was. If nobody wants to review their campaign, I'll show you some stuff that's really bad. We learn from other people's mistakes, right? It's okay. Thanks for tuning in. I hope this show serves you. Please remember to invite one of your friends to next week's show. Help them grow their business by getting them involved in UpViral. Remember, you can use this for just about everything in your processes, in your funnels, and you should be, because those referrals, even if you only get 5% or 1 or 2, those people are more incentivized to buy from you than somebody that comes in through a Facebook ad. So make this the lifeblood of your business. We will catch you all next Tuesday, same bat time, same bat channel, right here on the UpViral Copilot Show.